Okay, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's shiur should be the Ilu Nishmas, a dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dova Cohen. And today we have a special Ilu Nishmas for Zev ben Avram Shia. Is that it? Zev ben Avram Shia, the Shomaz Zahob ben Aliyah, and also B'schus Refuah Shalem B'karav Mishalom ben Sarachel and Miriam Basara. Today we are on page 29 in the Or Avigdor for those who are following along, and today we're talking about the second of the 10 advantages that a baal bitachon has over an alchemist. What we're looking at today is slightly different than yesterday. Yesterday what we spoke about is that an alchemist needs his ingredients or his raw materials in order to make his fool's gold, in order to have his livelihood, in order to make his money. So again, going back to the idea that he puts his trust in his ability to make this fool's gold. So he takes $1, turns it into $100 fairly easily. Now, today's advantage over the alchemist, we're going to talk about the process, the hard work that goes into being an alchemist, and why that alchemist differs greatly from a person who's a bitachon. I want to tell you that we're going to touch a little bit on something that we're going to learn more of later on, maybe in about a month or so, maybe even a little less, a couple of weeks, but I'm going to mention it anyway. V'hasheni, the second advantage that a baal bitachon has over the alchemist is ki bal hakemiyah tzarich lamasam v'lemlachos, is that the alchemist has to perform certain procedures and operations, lo yishlam lo cheftzai zulasam, and he can't achieve his desired result without them. There is a process to making a piece of metal that resembles gold, and that's mixing the different materials. I don't have exactly the recipe, but copper, the tin, the brass, whatever it is, the bronze, mixing it together with some other chemicals, and through a process, there is this metal that comes out that has the same color and shine, supposedly. I haven't seen it, but it looks like gold. This process is an extremely unhealthy environment, because when you do all these different things, the environment that you're in has a lot of fumes, there's a lot of toxins in the air, and it's very detrimental to one's health. Therefore, a person who is an alchemist and is creating this fool's gold, and is putting together these different raw materials and going through the process, ultimately what is putting his health at risk when he's creating this. And obviously that differs greatly with the baal bitachon. This alchemist, he might even get killed by the odors and the fumes of the chemicals. Coupled with the uninterrupted work, in addition to the unhealthy work environment, he's also working day and night, because let's face it, if anyone over here found an avenue of business, and we'll call this the printing machine, you're going to be up day and night to print cash if you can. As long as you're printing that $100 bills and you know it's flowing, you're going to go until you fall apart. And so in reality, you're putting your health at risk over there as well. And he goes further to say, but the person who is a baal bitachon and trusts in Hashem, bevitra mehapagam, is safe from all these mishaps, and his mind is at ease, is confident that he won't encounter problems. This person trusts that Hashem will give him his livelihood without having to go through this terrible ordeal of being in a hazardous work environment. And that whatever comes to him is from Hashem, and he will accept that with joy and with happiness. Now, the part that I want to speak about over here and touch on, if it comes later on, we're going to talk about choosing an occupation based on bitachon. One of the things that we're going to talk about in choosing an occupation based on bitachon is that a person who's a baal bitachon should not get involved in a business, an industry, a job, or anything for that matter, not necessarily from a monetary perspective, but in any perspective, that's going to put his health at risk. We're going to talk about the idea of working hard, long hours, taking on 3 jobs just to make a living. And there's a fine line over there, and it has to be discussed maybe with your Rav more, but the idea that we're going to talk about over there is Go put yourself in a position where you're taking a job as, I don't know, maybe a coal miner. You have to go deep down into the bowels of the earth to dig for coal or for some other raw materials, and you're down there for days at a time or sometimes even longer. Your health is at risk. All to make, you'll make extra money. You make more money than the average Joe on an hourly rate. You're right. But what you're doing is you're saying, I only trust in the process of me being a coal miner, for instance, to make this money. What you're saying is you don't trust that Hashem is going to provide to you without this. So there's a very fine line to talk about over there, but putting your health at risk is definitely something that's very clear cut. Don't put yourself in a dangerous situation in order to make money. And that's kind of what this second advantage of the baal bitachon has over the alchemist, was the alchemist has no choice but to put his health at risk. He has to work in poor work environments. He has to work day and night in order to get his gold done because he just wants it. He's enamored by it. It's just part of everything that's going on. And here, Rabbeinu Bachya says, we see an added point, that the one who trusts in Hashem is confident that no matter what happens, it's for his benefit. Even if a mishap occurs, he knows that it's for his benefit. Therefore, no matter what happens, he won't be unhappy or depressed about his situation. And this person who's a baal bitachon, and his sustenance will come to him with peace. And quiet and tranquility. It says in Pasuk, David HaMelech says, Binois desha yarbitzeni, in the grassy meadows he causes me to lie, Hashem, to lie down. He leads me by tranquil waters. David HaMelech is speaking as if we were a flock of sheep. And he's saying that Hashem will take care of the baal bitachon, and it's not necessary for him to endanger his life. That a flock of sheep, they know that the shepherd brings them out to grassy meadows. They lay out over there. They have food all day. They have a stream of water, and that they're at peace. They know that the shepherd is leading the way, taking them to all the vegetation that there is in this land. And that's the idea over here. The idea is, and just to recap, the advantage that we have as baal bitachon over the alchemist is that we're not going to put our lives at risk in order to make a dollar, because we understand that we're not going to make more money by putting our lives at risk, because Hashem, if he wanted to give it to us, he would give it to us regardless. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all here today. And as always, I love you all.